Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of our weekly press briefing here at the Executive Mansion. Today is another day that we bring you happenings here at the Executive Mansion, the workings of His Excellency, and the working of the country. So this week has been a very busy week for His Excellency as he continues to do the Liberian people's work. During the course of the week, His Excellency visited Riverside County in Sestos City, where he had gone to dedicate the 14th Judicial Circuit Court there upon an invitation by the Chief Justice of the Honorable Supreme Court and members of the judiciary. While in Riverside County, the program was in two folds. He dedicated the facility and he also participated in the official court opening because as part of the program, or the program coincided with the opening of the court, and he attended on Monday. Outside of that, or after that, he also went to engage the citizens who were at the town hall at the program for the development of the government's development agenda. Also, during the course of the week, as he continues to meet different segments of the population, but more so partners, in showing that we have a very good country. He also had a very special cabinet meeting, the sixth in role since he's taken over. And the cabinet meeting had two key agendas. And one of those agendas came in from the cabinet retreat that was held because there was a need to strengthen or speak more about that particular component, which was the coordination amongst government institutions. So one of the agenda items was to really talk about the importance of coordination, but more so communications. And the Liberia Revenue Authority also made a very good presentation, and that presentation talked mostly about how we can get to $1 billion when it comes to supporting the budget. And so there were a number of conversations happening along those lines, and the president was very interested in getting more details on what needs to happen. Because yes, earlier on during the course of these few months, you heard of, in fact, during the cabinet retreat, you heard the LRA presentation, particularly talking about the possibility of raising up to $1 billion or even more. So yesterday's cabinet meeting was to come and speak in detail about how, and then some of the issues that were talked about specifically was in terms of streamlining certain things. And it's not going to happen easily. It is going to need some actions in terms of us getting to $1 billion. That first has to do with the LRA needing financial autonomy, which will help streamline what they can do, because even the LRA talked about the challenges that they have in terms of revenue generation and collection with the different challenges within the sector. And then there's a need to streamline tax exemption under the Liberia incentive regime, because a lot of institutions, there is currently a lot of tax exemption happening that's also making it difficult for the country to raise the needed revenue. And also taxation on the issue of real property. The truth is, many Liberians don't like to pay taxes. So there are conversation on what needs to happen in terms of ensuring and encouraging more people to be able to pay their taxes. And another very important component that they talk about that will help us to get to the $1 billion, as they mentioned, is to transition to a digital revenue collection portion, where to ensure that there's digitalization in the system, because the manual system is making it difficult, and even sometimes the infrastructure that they have to be able to get to where we are is that some of the infrastructure that they have is not developed by our own local LRA. Some of them are supported by international partners, and some are supported, by different institutions. So even with that, and most of the time when people go to pay taxes, for example, they go to LRA windows, they go pay the different fees, they say, oh, system down, system down. Even with the passport, for example, just a typical example, they did mention on some of those challenges, oh, the system is down. So to be able to get us to where we want to get as a country is to invest in digitalization of that and to have the system automated. So this is something that the president and the team have decided, the president particularly, to have the economic management team take all of the recommendations from the LRA as presented at the cabinet meeting yesterday to the economic management team, and they will review and brief the president on those specific actions that needed to be taken. And then there are also some areas that have judicial actions, that some judicial actions need to be taken. So the president is very happy about some of these recommendations, and some of them are doable as well in the short term, but he's looking to hear more from his economic team as to how we can get there. It's because most of our sectors need resources. We can only we can only spend, or we can only be able to help fix sectors or develop sectors with the resources when they're available. So yes, the cabinet meeting ended with those things, and then there was a general presentation by the security team. Also, he's continuing to engage, and this later on today, he's going to be having a meeting with the leadership of the House of Representatives of the National Legislature. Again, since the president got on board, you all know he's been doing a lot when it comes to coordination amongst the different branches of the government. That is the judiciary and legislature. And within the legislature, we've had several different meetings and also had a joint conversation, and all in the interest of ensuring that we run a smooth country, that all the different departments or branches, the work in line for the Liberian people. So he is really happy about that. So that meeting is ongoing. It'll start soon, shortly later on. And so far, those are the key things I wanted to talk to you on. But most importantly, I want to inform the Liberian people that on Monday, His Excellency President Bouaka will lead the delegation to Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States of America, where he's going to attend the 104th National Black Business Conference. And at that conference, the delegation will go and is expected to meet different segments of the people as well. So basically talk about some opportunities for investment in Liberia, in meeting key stakeholders, engaging, and that. It's going to be away from Monday until from the 19th until the 25th of this month, and it's going to return to Liberia on the 25th. So thank you again for coming, and to those who are following, thank you for following this broadcast. I will take some of your questions and call it a day. Thank you. Good afternoon.
So that being said,
So that was the presidential press secretary there making a remark. Olafofana, Tracy,
yes,
the press on the weekly.
Yes, Madam Press Secretary. My name is Moses Bakolo, and I report for Lux FM. That's Councillor Jonathan Massaquet, we understand, has been sacked, if I should put it. And the president has set up a team to go or to search for someone to lead the war and economic crimes called office that was set up by the president. In recent time, is it that the president is being pressured to take some of the actions he's taking, or he's taking it knowing that he is in control of the country? To better put it, is he doing it out of public pressure, or is it that he did not do his due diligence in terms of ascertaining who Jonathan Masakwa is, for which he appointed, and there were backlashes?
Yeah, my name is Joseph Daniels, and I report for OKFM. Usually, the press office will communicate decisions of the president, but this issue with Jonathan Masakwa's replacement was not communicated through your office. I didn't see any communication through the press office because that was a decision taken by the president. Can you please explain also why, answering Pakulo's question, to explain why wasn't that done, but rather through the Ministry of Information, which is unusual? And it said, was the president's decision also based on the orator, because the orator made that recommendation during the 177th Independence Day celebration? Was it because of that, or the civil society organizations that push for it to be done? Secretary, please look at that when you are responding to that question, please.
Thank you very much. On the first question about public pressure of Jonathan Masakwa, well, I've said this to you all multiple times at multiple press conferences around the president's authority. And the president is the president of the Republic of Liberia, and the Constitution gives him that authorization to appoint and dismiss whoever is working with him, especially based on that particular appointment. So with the situation of Councillor Jonathan Masakwa, yes, he was appointed, and it was not him as an individual who was in someone's worst sacked, but the press release is clear that the office is being reconstituted. So that entire office has been dissolved and it's been reconstituted. So the reconstitution of the office now, especially if you read the press release, it was very clear on specifics on what's going to happen and how that is going to roll out. On the issue of the communication coming from my office versus coming from the Ministry of Information, the office of the press secretary and the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, the both offices working, or the ministry is the ministry that's responsible for government communication. The press secretary's office is also responsible for presidential communication. However, the both institutions, the both offices work similarly. Information from our office can be shared with the Ministry of Information. The Ministry of Information can also share the president's actions because it's one government, one communication team. So when we say one communication team, so whether it comes from my office directly or it comes from the Ministry of Information, it is an authentic, or those are authentic sources of government information. And as we've said a number of times, they're sources of information to make it, if your question is on the authenticity or the procedure, but both procedures are relevant and important and true. The sources of information from the government, from the president's office, for example, when you see the Executive Mansion website, it's an official source. The Executive Mansion official Facebook account, the Office of the Presidential Press Secretary is an official source. The Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, all its affiliates pages, whether it's social media or newspaper, those are authentic sources of government information. Again, individual institutions, for example, institutions under government, they also have websites, they also have pages and all that. But what you need to do is to also ensure that they are authentic. So these institutions that talked about, the sources are the ones you've mentioned. So whether it comes from my office or it comes from the office of the minister, or even deputy ministers, assistant ministers, and the Ministry of Information, once it has the government's logo, the government emblem, government authority's signature, authentic signature, and you know, yes, they're tangible, will do duplication or fake documents here and there. But again, that's why journalism is important to authenticate. And I'm here to let you know the communication from the Ministry of Information is authentic. That was the action of the president, and the initial action was also of the president, and this one is also of the president.
I asked follow up on
Oh
that.
yeah, whether on the orators, whether it was because of the orator. Like I said, the president is a president who is very keen and strategic and direct when it comes to what he wants to do. And when he set out to establish the office of the War and Economic Crime Court by the Executive Order 131, he was very clear in his speech, his statements, and the reasons for which he wants to do this. It was very clear. So at any given point in time, that he wants to ensure that the system he's putting in place is structured properly, it has that local buy-in. So once he understands that this is what he wants to do, he goes ahead and do it. And we from the communication arm to inform the public that these are the actions of the president in the interest of making sure that his goal he has set up for the War and Economic Crime Court are met.
Okay.
Yes. Another question?
Yeah,
Yes.
all right, Madam PPS, I'm Joraizi Ezra Prince Joe. I report from Spoon Communication, and I have two questions. One is the report concerning the Drugs Enforcement Agency 3 directors, and we have gone approximately 3 months now, and we have not heard anything relating to that investigation. I don't know whether the investigation was done, but then the office of the president is holding fast to it, or the investigation is still ongoing. And secondly, my second question, this money in the Sarah report were published pertaining to your office about an alleged corruption or something. Can you make a remark on that so that for public clarity from your part?
Yes, Moses again. Still with Councillor Massaqua's sacking, I'd like to put it. Does the president, or do we expect to see a new mandate coming with the committee that is being set up? Because we are talking about restructuring the office of War and Economic Crimes Court. Do we expect to see a new mandate coming with that as well? And also, there are reports that the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Pearson, there have been negotiations from the Executive Mansion, precisely headed by the President, to allegedly get off the hook or reports from the Central Bank, the audit of the Central Bank, based on his alleged relationship he has with Madam Pearson. He wants to get her off the hook, and that's why there was some lobbying on behalf of, that's from the executive, to ensure that she's paid off and let off the hook.
Okay. Yes, simply backly, I think similar questions, but I just want to ask in this way also. Was she asked to resign? But did the president ask her to resign? And is there any benefit for her resigning? Because this is coming in the middle of an investigation at the CBL. Following the report, the president suspended the governor, and there's an ongoing investigation into the CBL audit report. So will she be part of that investigation now that the president has accepted? And also please comment whether the president asked her to resign. My last question would be, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, you disclosed last week that the LACC submitted its report to the president's office. how soon will we see any action? There was a cabinet retreat yesterday. President, I didn't hear you talk about it. Is there any upcoming action from the president on the LACC report? If so, how long will it take?
Thank you very much. For those, if there are any questions, please ask. If not, we'll continue on this. So to your question on the LDEA, absolutely, like I told you last week, the president have received the report, and he's also reviewing the report. His legal team did an advising on it as well, but he's also taking his time to, get, because for him, as you all know, when the president took office, the issue of drugs abuse, was key. He even went ahead to take the drug test himself. He's been doing a lot of work with the Ministry of Health, the committee that he set up, chaired by the Ministry of Health. So it tells all of us that the president is very serious when it comes to the issue of drugs and alcohol abuse. So LDA work is a key portion. That's why when the situation happened, he took an immediate action. Towards the investigation, he's also having a meeting with the current team that he appointed as OIC, the officer in charge, to understand what they're doing at the moment, and then we will be hearing from him as soon as open. On the issue of several reports from my office, sometimes when we're in this business, it's a very interesting place to be. Like I always tell all of you, that there will be many times people will just come up with different allegations against myself, or let's say things about me. I'm like, who is that? Are they talking about? But just to be clear, at no point in time there have been any form of corruption activity at my office. And my office right now, if I tell you the challenges that we have, you even check, resource-wise, we do not have any resources at the office. When we do the work that we do, we get support sometimes from His Excellency himself. It's been a really challenging time, even with the equipment. The budget year was a very challenging budget year, even with the current situation. So most of the work that we do is the passion that is taking us, and at no point in time have we gotten ourselves involved into any act of corruption whatsoever. So the reporter who did the story, you all know you have all access to our office. You can come and ask specific questions. But I can tell you free that what we've been able to do for the short time we've gotten here, we put in systems, we put in some workings, especially working with the press corps to see how we can help support the work that you all do, despite you all are independent journalists. But we do our best to help with what we can from the standpoint of building capacity and giving you all opportunities and finding other support that we can do. So we will continue to do our work. For us, sometimes when we read some of these headlines, we just laugh about it, and because there's not any form of truth in it, there's no iota of truth in any of those. And since we started work, all of the spaces that we're working, not a day you will hear someone have something to say. We've done, that's part of our book. We've had an opportunity to work quite a bit in many different sectors, informal institutions that we serve, So for us, those are just part of what we do. And sometimes people really try to put up these headlines to get under their skin, but sometimes I just look at them and continue my work. I'm not easily distracted, so I have to, focus on the work ahead. But we would just encourage all of you. Like I've said to you most of the time that for us, we're not asking for any special favors. We're not asking you to pardon us, but we're asking you to just go by the basic ethics of journalism, reporting the facts, reporting the accuracy, and showing that it's balanced. To just assume and create a story or stories on someone without even having a conversation or not even understanding what's going on, whether there's even some form of iota of truth in it, that is unethical journalism. And we encourage media institutions to continue to practice ethical journalism so that when people reading the papers, they understand that yes, this institution, or even if they're listening to your different reports, they know that that you all are doing your best to even get the different side of the story, quote unquote. So I will I believe that. So on the issue of a new mandate, so as you know, when the president did sign the executive order, the executive order is the mandate for the office. This action that he's taking, the action is specifically for that. So the action and the new team that will come will be implementing the executive order. So the mandate with the team will be the executive order. There is a question about trying to get off the hook on CBL. The president, when he got into office, even before, he consistently talked about showing integrity in the system, in the governance system. He met a number of audit reports, and he also requested some audits to be done because he always said, it's not because I just want to audit, but it's important when you're coming in a new space to be able to know what you're meeting. And those audit reports show a lot of things that were happening. Even, I'm sure you saw the news, you saw the papers today about some people were intending to siphon some public resources from the same Central Bank of Liberia. So the action of the president is very clear. And at no time did the president or the office of the president ask that someone should be pardoned or they're negotiating to be pardoned. Someone or one of the deputies, she decided to resign internally for resignation. The president did receive her resignation and thank her, because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, the president thanked her, meaning when you tell somebody thank you, that means you're letting them off the hook. But that's not the case. I mean, the case is that an investigation to CBO was done, and the current team, especially the CBO head, was suspended pending the outcome of the ongoing investigation. So an institution is not just one individual. So that means the entire team of CBO, but the CBO is being investigated, not the people, it's the institution, there are actions that are taken. So whoever is found liable to any of those issues that happened, the corruption issue, they will be dealt with according to the law. It doesn't negate the fact that someone resigned, and it doesn't mean when someone resigned and someone accepted the resignation, they're off the hook. I hope that this will help, alleviate some energy that was around, oh, the president thanked her because she's about to get off the hook. On the question of whether she's been pardoned, no, it's not the case. The investigation, like I said, is happening. And should the investigation report comes up and say that this person was involved in any form of corruption, of course, the president is someone who will ensure that the law takes its course. And definitely, the law will take its course with everyone and anyone involved with any act of corruption within the current investigation that's happening. On the question of LACC, yes, even yesterday the president did talk about it. He's still reviewing the report. Interestingly, he's even having a meeting with the members of the legislature, because the LACC report did not just mention just the executive, it is both the judiciary and the legislature. So you want to ensure that actions, if you want to put in some actions, there will be, some understanding that everyone else should understand. So yes, he's reviewing the report, and when he concludes and takes specific actions, you all will be informed about those actions. I think I've covered all of your key questions, or all of your questions, except anyone from journalism just raining, but if not, we want to say thank you for coming.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Can I just ask you one question?
Yes, please.
Okay, the president is about to travel to America on a business tour. What do we expect in Liberia?
All right, the president is traveling. I just talked to you all about the president traveling to Atlanta, Georgia, the United States of America, and he's going to attend the Black Business Conference. And the business conference will help to also showcase what Liberia has. And thank you for bringing that question up. I was just going to let all of you know that, remember I did show you guys this magazine we did before. So one of the reasons why the president will be going there is to tell the world or the people attending the forum what Liberia has. So here, you know, Liberia, the arrest agenda that the president have talked about many times, what he intends to undertake is on the agriculture here. So the president will be showcasing the different sector, economy, tourism, education, and you know, a lot of other areas under the arrest agenda. Oh no, very recently we talked about last week of the business summit that happened here, the National Investment Conference that happened here. And in fact, some of those people who were attending the conference last week, they were also they're also from Atlanta, Georgia. And the president will be meeting some of them as a follow-up and see what specific investment opportunities are there for Liberia. And it will be our hope that we can, you know, achieve some of these things, because his last visits to Korea, there, you know, a lot of things happening with that. A couple of meetings have happened, Koreans have come. So I mean, our president is very upbeat about what he wants to do, and these summits, especially when it comes to business summits across the globe, and you will see him going to others shortly upon his return, is to also showcase Liberia, because for him, he believes that it is true the investment in, you know, the private sector investment that will really help the economy, because the pressure is on public sector for jobs and other places. In most developed countries in the West, they thrive on the private sector. So when everybody or majority of the people are employed with the private sector, you have, you know, less people wanting to just be all in the place and not doing anything. So for him, the interest is to, you know, chip in and tell the world what Liberia has, how beautiful our country is, and what we can do to make this place a great country. So thank you all, and I hope you enjoy your Friday. It's a Friday for everybody. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Alright, so folks, that was the presidential press secretary, Claude Fofana, that giving brief report on the president activities through the week, and the president will be traveling next week, Monday, and will be back after the Flag Day celebration. So once again, I'm Jorazio Prince Joe, reporting from the Executive Mansion. Spoon. Thank you.